I knew it was you. You have your father's eyes.
And my mother's ears. But the rest belongs to you.
Indiana Jones is in search of the Holy Grail, and he's also trying to rescue his kidnapped father in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
The first film is the third and last Indiana Jones adventure, and although this production is exceedingly well made, save for a rousing ending, I wanted more. More humanity, more wit, more laughs. More of a film like the original Raiders of the Lost Ark. In Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Harrison Ford meets a beautiful Austrian archaeologist who helps him look for clues in the rat-infested catacombs of Venice for the location of the Holy Grail, the legendary cup Jesus drank from at the Last Supper.
What's that?
It's a rubbing Dad made of the Grail tablet.
Just like your father. Kitty is a schoolboy. Wouldn't it be wonderful if he were here now to see this?
He never would have made it past the rats. He hates rats. He's scared to death of them.
The most important character introduced in this film is Indiana's archaeologist father, played by Sean Connery. He's been captured by the Nazis, who also want to find the Holy Grail.
I will take the book now.
What book?
You have the diary in your pocket.
You don't. Do you think my son would be that stupid that he would bring my diary all the way back here? You didn't, did you?
Like the other films in this series, action is everywhere as Indiana tries to rescue his father and a colleague played by Denholm Elliott. What's good about the film, very good, is its slam-bang ending that takes time to question what's more important, objects or a family. What is so about the movie is its machine-like march through Nazi lairs and caves in the hunt for the Holy Grail. None of it is bad, it's just of a piece. Thunderous to the point of pushing one away from the screen. And I didn't believe the father-son relationship between Connery and Ford. I just saw two good actors occupying the same space next to each other.
So are you voting thumbs down?
Yeah, reluctantly.
Because I'm voting thumbs up. I enjoyed it. One thing I will agree with you, though, is that the plots are very similar between this one and the first one. Remember, in the first one, the Nazis were after the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
This time, they're after the Holy Grail.
Right.
And
you didn't get tired at all when they were just going through the story? Didn't you think, gee, I've been through this before,
well,
it's a little loud?
No, I didn't, and I'll tell you why. You've got to realize this is the third in the series. Maybe Spielberg is wise to end it at this point, because we are now familiar, essentially, with what we can expect. Strange locations, unbelievable adventures.
Snakes or rats.
Snakes and rats and so forth. I did enjoy a lot of the art direction, especially that wonderful dirigible and the way it looked and the way the plane took off from underneath it. I thought that was terrific. I liked the look of Venice and the look of those catacombs.
Do you remember your reaction, though, to the first one?
The first one was absolutely smashing. It was a great film, but it was also a new film.
A new kind.
It was a new film in the sense that I hadn't seen that energy level before.
Right.
I hadn't seen that technical level before. I hadn't seen Harrison Ford in that role before.
And I felt
there's no way that Spielberg can win with this one. I think it's a very good film.
Well, I felt like I had seen it before, and I didn't. Did you really believe they were father and son?
Gene, I don't. Earlier, you were saying the film didn't have enough humanity. I don't go to an Indiana Jones film for humanity. I don't go to an Indiana Jones film for convincing father-son relationships.
But if it
I go for action and stunts. I thought that Connery had a couple of good lines in which he was trying to be strict to his son.
It's just not as strong as I expected to be.
Well, okay. First movie is Back to the Future Part 2, and this is one of the goofiest movies I've seen in a long time. A convoluted comedy about two time travelers who mess up the future and go back to the past to try to patch things up and make him come out right. The movie once again stars Michael J. Fox as the bewildered hero and Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, who has invented a time travel machine and now brings Fox to the year 2015 for a quick fix on the life of his son.
God, he looks just like me. Within 2 hours of his arrest, Martin McFly Jr. was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 15 years in the state penitentiary? Within 2 hours?
The justice system works swiftly in the future now that they've abolished all lawyers.
The movie has fun with its vision of the future, including three-dimensional holographic movie ads.
Shark still looks fake.
Fox causes lots of trouble when he gets a sports almanac and realizes he can travel back in time and win lots of money on sports bets.
Marty!
I can't move.
Marty, up here!
Tragedy strikes when Fox's archenemy steals the sports magazine, goes back in time, becomes a millionaire, and in the new future marries Fox's mother.
Mom? Mom, that can't be you.
Oh, yes, it's me, Marty. Are you all right?
I'm fine. It's just that you're so big.
And so Fox and the Mad Professor have to go back in time once again to try to steal the almanac before the bad guy can start using it so that the present will return to the way it ought to be. And if you're confused, so am I, and that's one of the charms of this movie, as the characters shuttle back and forth trying to do a patch-up job on the tides of destiny. Back to the Future Part 2 is not as good as the original 1985 film. It doesn't have the genuine human emotion of the earlier film when Fox tries to fix up a date between his own parents so that he'll be born. But it is a goofy and screwball movie, and I enjoyed it for what it is rather than in comparison with the earlier film.
Well, I had the same reaction to the comparison of the two. The first film had a heart to it, and I don't think there's any reason why a screwball comedy couldn't take time out to have heart. In other words, I think this film would have been helped a great deal if it had a little heart to it. I think it would have been true to the original picture. Instead, I found this to be very gadget-filled and really noisy in an unpleasant way, so that when I was watching it, I was seeing a lot of slapstick, a lot of racing around, and the character of Biff, the enemy of Michael J. Fox, is really the star of the second picture. I think the movie could have been called Biff in a way, because it's really, he dominates the whole action. And the Michael J. Fox character and his relationship with his parents, that's really just not there. The father isn't even there. And so I really found it kind of unpleasant to watch in a way. And I was looking forward to it, but it didn't enjoy it at all.
I think maybe it will suffer because people remember that the first movie really did move them emotionally. This is an entirely different movie.
And not as good.
And not as good, but still okay.
Not for me.
Oh, yes, I'd recommend it. I'd recommend it for exactly what it is. And one of the things I liked was Christopher Lloyd racing around back and forth through time. He changes something here, it comes out different there, he moves back here. Michael J. Fox steals the almanac in the future. Biff gets it from Michael J. Fox, goes back to 1955. That changed 1985. Yeah, right, They're racing around, and that's really the charm of the movie, is it just in its zaniness.
Except that when I started to talk about the noise factor of the film and the physical action, hard action, you seem to be nodding in agreement that that's sort of unpleasant.
No. Well, of course, it's a noisy, action-filled film. What's wrong with that?
Well, when the noise doesn't mean anything to you,
no,
then it doesn't.
Something to me.
Not to me.
It wasn't that noisy.
Our next film is Back to the Future Part 3, a most satisfying conclusion to the action comedy series about time travel. I really liked the original film. I thought the second was dull as dishwater, but number 3 is just fine as Michael J. Fox and his scientist friend Christopher Lloyd wind up back in the Old West of 1885. And thanks to his expertise with video games, Michael J. Fox proves to be an expert marksman at a Western town carnival.
Listen, can I try that again?
Yeah, go on.
Hey, just tell me one thing. Where'd you learn to shoot like that?
7-Eleven.
Part 3 also brings back some of the adult emotions of the original film as Christopher Lloyd falls in love with a school teacher played by the always delightful Mary Steenburgen.
I think a lens may be out of alignment because if you move it this way, the image turns fuzzy. See? But if you turn it the other way, then
everything becomes clear.
They're great together. Naturally, there is a six-gun showdown in the movie as Michael J. Fox angers the local tough guy who doesn't like his nickname.
You're Mad Dog Tannen.
Mad Dog.
I hate that name. I hate it. You hear? Nobody calls me Mad Dog. Especially not some duded up, egg-sucking gutter trash.
And they do have a shootout in the street in the western town at the not at high noon, at low 8 o'clock. Those scenes each work on their own, but they are made more special because the characters are fiddling with the past and possibly influencing the future. Back to the Future Part 3 looks great. It's obvious that they have spent tens of the millions of dollars they made with this series. Gorgeous western settings. I love a nostalgic shot of Mary Steenburgen, remember, in a beautiful purple dress standing next to that green train, green railroad car. Top flight writing and fine performances all around.
I don't know, Gene, I didn't like it as much as you did, and one of the problems is, as a western movie, this didn't work very well. Now, if you add all of the time travel onto the top of it and your memory of the two previous movies in the series, I suppose that would help. But the problem is, this western town is a movie western town. It's straight out of cliches. There's even Pat Buttram drinking in the bar.
I like
along
seeing
with
him.
a couple of other guys. Dub Taylor was in the bar,
That's right.
too, I think.
I love seeing those guys.
And so wouldn't it have been more interesting if Michael J. Fox had gone back to the real Old West instead of to the movie Old West and gone back to a real time in the past rather than a fictional time in the past?
Well, he's going to a fictional time in the future when in Part 2, and you enjoyed that picture. So, you know, the question is, was it entertaining?
Yeah, but the problem here is, you see, there isn't as much time travel or paradox in this movie. Basically, once they get back there, it becomes a Western.
Right? Yeah, and I like that.
Time. And it wasn't a very... If this were only a Western, you wouldn't say it was a very good Western.
It's not only a Western.
But you wouldn't say it was a good Western if it were only a Western.
But it isn't only.
But it isn't. But the Western part isn't so good.
No, that's where I differ with you. The part that is a Western was very entertaining for me. I just reviewed all the parts of it. The Steenburgen and Christopher Lloyd are a lot of fun together, and he has some fun with Western conventions. The movie worked for me.
I must go.
Do not fear me.
That is not a chance encounter in an early London cinema. The man, played by Gary Oldman there, is Prince Dracula, who has waited centuries for the reincarnation of his dead bride and thinks he has found her in this beautiful young English woman, the fiancée of the prince's attorney, played by Winona Ryder. And the relationship between the undead prince and the object of his ancient obsession is at the heart of Bram Stoker's Dracula, a great-looking but somewhat disorganized new epic of the supernatural from Francis Ford Coppola. Lucy, the young woman's best friend, is played by Sadie Frost, who unwittingly supplies the lifeblood which Dracula needs to maintain his strength. And Anthony Hopkins plays a vampire killer whose suspicions are aroused by her condition.
You do not let your eyes see nor your ears hear that which you cannot account for.
Something just went up there, sucked it out of her, and flew away, I suppose.
Yeah, why not?
The movie has all the obligatory graveyard scenes, including this atmospheric confrontation between the vampire killers and Lucy as the walking undead.
Kiss me and caress me, my darling husband, please.
Winona Ryder there plays the young woman who seems to be the reincarnation of Dracula's dead bride, and indeed she seems to feel some special emotion in the presence of the dread prince.
No, I cannot let this be.
Please, I don't care. Make me.
Mary, only cursed as I am to walk in the shadow of death for all eternity. I love you too much to continue.
Take me away from all this death.
Francis Coppola's version of Dracula does not have a strong narrative thread to draw us from the beginning to the end of the film. It feels actually more like an opera, with a lot of very emotional climaxes and not much logic in between, and that is both a strength and a weakness. I like the way this movie looked and felt, and I like the energy the actors put into their performances. There were times when they seemed to be playing for the audiences in every theater in the multiplex. I liked the production design, the costumes, the lavish and seductive photography. I liked all of that. What never really moved me very much were the characters. I didn't believe their emotions. They seemed to be playing for effect rather than for motivation. But still, it's a good-looking movie. I recommend it for what I liked about it, but not for the rest.
Yeah, and I'm voting thumbs down, Roger. It is a great-looking picture, but boy, that's all I saw. interested early on in the Gary Oldman Dracula, the old Dracula. I thought that was an interesting creation. He looks like some kind of weird grandmother with a beehive hairdo, and I thought that's fresh rather than the cloaked prince that we're usually getting in the films. But beyond that opening sequence, I don't think that the Winona Ryder character was very charismatic at all. Keanu Reeves as the lawyer, I thought was kind of in another century. Well, he is in another century, but I thought it was maybe the 20th century. And I thought it was very disorganized. And yes, Coppola is a master of the visual, but I thought it was a pretty empty picture.
Well, the important thing with a movie of this length and complexity is to have a storyline that is clear enough.
Driven through.
So that people know at every moment exactly who is who and why, and whether we care about them and what's going to happen next. And here you have, as I said before, set pieces in which everything spins around in beautiful pictures, but there's no real emotion.
So then why do you give it thumbs up?
I love the way it looked.
Well, I like the way it looked.
There has to be, you know, thumbs up, thumbs down is such an arbitrary thing anyway.
Not arbitrary.
This movie does things with the visuals of vampirism and the Dracula legend you have not seen done before. I mean, the sets, the costumes, the atmosphere, the music, the special effects.
I know you were bored during it, and I was bored too. I really was.
Well,
Coming up next...
I'm glad you're a mind reader. Maybe you could get a job in the next picture doing your act or something.
Thank you.
Our first movie is Carlito's Way, and this is another hard-boiled, colorful look at the criminal way of life by director Brian De Palma and actor Al Pacino, who collaborated on the unforgettable Scarface 10 years ago. This time, Pacino plays Carlito Briganti, a big man in New York drug circles, until he goes to prison and loses touch with the street. Freed after 5 years of a 30-year term, Carlito plays his hearing like an acceptance speech at an award ceremony.
Completely rehabilitated, reinvigorated, reassimilated, and finally going to be relocated. And I want to thank a lot of people for that.
When he comes out again, he wants to go straight. He keeps his nose clean while becoming a partner in a nightclub, hoping to make enough money to move to the Bahamas and open a legitimate business.
Charlie, please, you can't do this. Benny Blanco spends a lot of money here.
He's a nickel bagger. Come on.
What happened to you? What are you acting like this for? It doesn't make sense you should hate this guy. Because this guy is you 20 years ago.
Never me. Never me.
Carlito's lawyer in the film is played in a brilliant performance by Sean Penn, who is almost unrecognizable here as a man who has crossed over the line from the law into crime.
I'm in an impossible situation here. Once I get Tony on shore, there's a distinct possibility that he and his Goomba son have got some plans for me.
This is Sean Penn's first movie role in 3 years and another reminder of how good an actor he really is. The movie also co-stars Penelope Ann Miller as Carlito's girlfriend, who never quite understands all of the trouble he's in.
You can, bust the chain. Chase me around the apartment. Get me naked.
In his movie The Untouchables, De Palma staged a shootout in Chicago's Union Station. This time, it's the turn of New York's Grand Central Station as mobsters chase Carlito looking for revenge. Carlito's Way is a big, smart, energetic film that seems to know a lot about the world of New York's professional criminals. The film is narrated by Pacino as Carlito, and he tells us what he's thinking as he negotiates his way through the minefields of enemies and former friends. His attempt to go straight has a counterpoint in Sean Penn's lawyer, who gets mired in cocaine and double-crosses himself into a lot of trouble. Pacino gives an interesting performance, aggressive but also thoughtful and a little sad. Now, there are times when his accent owes more to his character in Sin of a Woman than to a Puerto Rican gangster, but, you know, that didn't bother me, and I really got absorbed in this movie.
I only got absorbed at the end in the chase in Grand Central Station, which is very well done, and it's something that Brian De Palma knows how to do very, very well. But before that, I must say, I had the same kind of objections I had to Scarface, which was that it was about a character that I really wasn't interested in because of the movie makes his behavior heroic in a way that I didn't think it deserved.
It wasn't heroic, Gene. He's just a guy who used to be a criminal and now he doesn't want to be a criminal anymore, and it shows how difficult that is for him because all of his connections are with the wrong people.
I'm talking about the look and style of the film.
No. Great style.
I'm talking about the way that it tends to romance the scuzzy behavior in the beginning, in the courtroom scene at the beginning, in early violent action in the bar. I have another problem, that the relationship with the girlfriend, a real hackneyed character of the woman who wants to be a dancer on Broadway but has to work in a strip club.
Now, what about Sean Penn?
Well, I will tell you this.
What?
His performance is good because I did not recognize him.
No?
I didn't recognize him at all.
And he's very convincing.
But the character, again, I thought was way over the top.
The character was right on the mark.
Way over the top.
Right on the mark.
Way over the top. I didn't believe it for a second that the lawyer would be that ridiculous.
I don't know what it is
laughable.
about. There's something combination of De Palma and Pacino that just turns you off. I don't know what it is.
Actually, it's more De Palma than it is Pacino when they're working in these two films. I've liked other work by both of them a lot of the times.
Only a fool would try and arrest us twice in one day.
You're under arrest. A fool.
Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen there are just two of the hip new Three Musketeers in this surprisingly enjoyable remake, and I was really surprised by this picture. It proves that any old story can be made compelling with fresh writing and buoyant performances. Here, Chris O'Donnell from Son of a Woman plays a would-be musketeer who joins forces with the regulars, Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, and Charlie Sheen.
I may not wear the tunic, but I believe I have the heart of a musketeer.
Warrior.
Poet.
You got a name, boy?
D'Artagnan.
Athos, Porthos, and Aramis.
Hello. Nice to meet you again.
Pleasure.
Spicing up the action, Tim Curry as the scheming Cardinal Richelieu in a wonderful performance. In conflict with vampy Lady de Winter, Rebecca de Mornay each wants money and power, but obviously Richelieu wants even more.
A word of caution, my lady. A snap of my fingers, and you could be back on the block where I found you.
And with a flick of my wrist, I could change your religion.
Yes, of course, there are sword fights, plenty of them. And again, surprise, they're not boring.
I think our young friend could use some help.
Hold this.
This new version of the Three Musketeers is not a major film, but it's a whole lot more enjoyable than, let's say, that dismal Robin Hood remake with Kevin Costner that was so popular years ago. Everyone appears to be having a good time in this film without camping up things too much. I paid attention all the way through, and boy, I did not expect to.
Well, I knew I disagreed with you when you said you liked this film, but when you said that it was better than Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, I think you have taken leave of your senses because
You didn't like Robin Hood?
No comparison between the two films, though, because this movie is just... it does it by the numbers. It doesn't interest me. The characters aren't, there's no drama. It's just people riding around on horses, sword fighting with each other, you know, one for one, all and all for one, and
Roger,
it doesn't add up to anything.
I thought, first of all, costume dramas, I don't like them as a rule. They're very tough to get me involved. I thought this was light, fun, frothy, and I liked it just on that basis. And the Costner picture, you didn't like it.
It was light and it was frothy, but it wasn't fun.
Oh, okay. First film is Casino, Martin Scorsese's latest mobster story about the mafia's last days of running a major casino in Vegas. It's set in the 70s and 80s, and the film looks great, is memorably acted, and yet it breaks no new ground for Scorsese or his actors, and therefore, for all of the pyrotechnics, Casino is a bit of a letdown. At its best and most original, Casino is sort of a docudrama on the operation of a casino, as in this sequence narrated by the film's casino boss, Ace Rothstein, played by Robert De Niro.
The boxmen are watching the dealers. The floormen are watching the boxmen. The pit bosses are watching the floormen. The shift bosses are watching the pit bosses. The casino manager is watching the shift bosses. I'm watching the casino manager, and the eye in the sky is watching us all.
Now here's the well-acted but not very fresh part of the story, as De Niro's character has to deal with his always-in-trouble boyhood friend, an ultra-violent mob enforcer named Nicky Santoro, played by Joe Pesci.
Oh, no.
What's a 50,000 marker?
Don't, just give him a 10. That's it, 10. I'll be right down.
It's gonna come up with 10,000 just the way you want it. Get 10,000.
50,000. 50,000. Go get it.
The weakest storyline in Casino is the love story involving De Niro and a femme fatale, a con artist, and hooker played by Sharon Stone.
What's the matter?
What do you mean, what's the matter? I made a lot of money for you. I want my cut.
What money? I've seen you stealing from me.
What money? Look at the stack of chips. Don't give me that. I want my
I've been watching
end.
you all night.
Don't give me that. And I want my money. Stole. I didn't steal anything from you.
Get lost, Ginger. Get lost.
Get lost?
Yes.
Get lost?
Yes.
Well, how about that?
Every tough character has a weakness in Casino. Stone is De Niro's weakness, and she in turn has a soft spot for her pimp, a low-life hustler played by James Woods.
If you ever come back again, ever, to take her money, next time bring a pistol. That way you got a chance.
I loved looking at Casino. Each shot is beautifully composed, and the quasi-documentary scenes are sometimes thrilling. But the characters are familiar, based on the book by Goodfellas screenwriter Nicholas Pileggi. And as I watched this movie, repeatedly I felt that director Martin Scorsese, America's best, may have come to the end of this mob milieu. He's told this story in different times and places in much more exciting ways. One note, I wish that I could show you some of the many violent scenes in Casino, but the distributor isn't releasing any of the brutal beatings. They're trying to sell this as a love story, but as a love story, Casino doesn't work. So a mixed review, but ultimately, thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down?
Yep.
I'm astonished.
Why? You think this was fresh?
At the very least, Gene, it's thumbs up, and I think it's a lot better than that. And I'll just point out one thing. You didn't like the relationship between De Niro and Sharon Stone. To me, that was fascinating. This is a breakthrough for Scorsese, who throughout his career has always had this same kind of male-female relationship involving the guy who loves the woman up to a point and then decides that she's no good or not good enough for him. In this film, here's a guy who tries to be reasonable, who feels that he can buy and control and figure out the odds on everything. And he gets a woman who won't be controlled like that, who is a wild card, and that is why not only his life comes to pieces, but because of this relationship with this woman, the mob loses out in Vegas entirely. It's a fascinating story about how just the lust and love between these two people eventually led to the mob leaving Vegas altogether.
I think that you read the picture the wrong way. I think that exactly what happens is in a shot of a big lion, and I'll leave it like that. You understand the dynamic that really pushed the mob out of Vegas. It was corporations, not one man's love
Oh, you're
story.
talking about the fact that the junk bonds took over from the Teamsters Fund as a source of financing. That in itself is a fascinating other aspect to this movie. One of the things about the movie I liked is the amount of information it has, how the casinos operate, how they enforce security, how they took care of that guy at the blackjack table by giving him a phony heart attack so they could get him into the back room and pound on him for a while. This stuff is terrific.
The docudrama stuff is all of the personal stories. You never felt that you had seen this stuff before? From the personal stuff. Pesci, you hadn't seen that stuff with De Niro?
I hadn't seen it in this way, and nevertheless, even if I had, I saw it before in Goodfellas. That was a great movie. It was your choice of the best movie of the year.
Great movie.
To actually tell people you don't think they should see Martin Scorsese's Casino is shocking to me.
It is not
shocking. I can think of 200 movies this year that I would tell them not to see before I would get to this one. This is a very watchable movie.
Certain sections of it are watchable. I'm really grading this as a piece of work by Scorsese, and this is not his best work.
Well, as by somebody else, how would you grade it? Would it be thumbs up if it was from some other director?
I don't think so, Roger. I think I would have said that this is an uneven piece.
Okay, next movie. And our next movie is a big-budget swashbuckler named Cutthroat Island, starring Gina Davis as an exuberant woman pirate on a desperate search for the missing parts of a treasure map. She owns a third of the map, but it's written in Latin, so she buys an educated slave who can translate it for her. He is played by Matthew Modine, and they barely escape from a Jamaican port city with their lives. And of course, it goes without saying that Davis and Modine fall in love.
Give me the map. Give me a kiss first.
Her archenemy is an uncle and fellow pirate played by Frank Langella.
Your father was nothing. All my brothers were nothing. You had seen them. Think how far we could go together, Morgan. You and me against the world.
Cutthroat Island does a perfectly good job of being exactly what it says it is, a swashbuckling adventure film with a lot of energy and special effects. It was directed by Rennie Harlan, who made Die Hard 2. I find I don't care personally much these days for pirate movies since they concentrate on the action, and I'd like to see a movie about what a desperate existence most pirates must have led. So I wasn't caught up in the excitement of Cutthroat Island, but I do recognize it as a skillful piece of work. I think I give it thumbs up just for achieving exactly what it says it's going to do.
But it aimed low, Roger. I think it is nonstop. It is nonstop action.
Why does that make it low?
What?
Why is it aiming low to have nonstop action?
Because
that's what it is, nonstop action.
Because
it's a nonstop action
I'm
movie.
sitting there. No, we got one coming up later in the show that's much better than that. And I'll show you the difference. But here, Gina Davis, to me, is boring and is almost giddy as a pirate, and I think that her voice can command the action. So I thought she was out of place in this picture. I don't know if a woman could do it, but she isn't the one to do it.
What about the swashbuckling, the swinging
Roger,
from side to side?
You know what, Roger? I'm going to tell you something.
Cannon battles,
all of that stuff, I've seen it before. The ships didn't look glamorous. Matthew Modine and she do not engage each other. I really wonder about what's going on with Matthew Modine's career, because this was a superior actor, and I think he's just wasted in a fluff like this.
It's not that it isn't ready, sir. It's just that we have so much more testing to do.
Dr. Cooper, is it ready or not?
The boss of a powerful drug company has just issued orders for a new tranquilizer to be rushed into production with hilarious results in Brain Candy, an audacious, clever, very funny new satire from the comedy troupe known as Kids in the Hall. They play many of their parts in drag, and the joke doesn't stop there. What they have to say is as funny as how they look.
Hi, welcome to the Nina Bedford Show. I'm Nina Bedford. Do you like my new outfit? Happiness. Can it be bought in the form of a pill?
The drug they've designed is a feel-good pill, and it's possible to view Brain Candy as an indictment of the happy as a clam and excited to be one drug called Prozac.
How do you feel, patient 957?
Oh, like a fresh towel drying on the line on a summer's day. Oh, I feel like a little worm peeking its head out of the ground after a rainstorm and seeing no robin.
The Brain Candy players are also funny just conversing as they put down the artifice of adult behavior in the corporate business world.
I thought of the name for the drug. Gleeman X. Slogan? Gleeman X makes it feel like it's 72 degrees in your head. All the time.
I think this is very funny stuff. Brain Candy will appeal to young moviegoers who are fans of Kids in the Hall. I've seen them a couple of times on late night TV, and I often thought they seemed good only by comparison with the recent Saturday Night Live troops. But in Brain Candy, they're funnier than they've ever been on TV, and I recommend this picture as kind of a midnight show cult picture, which I suspect it's destined to become.
Boy, are we apart on this one. I did not laugh once. I thought this movie was awful,
Roger.
dreadful, terrible, stupid, idiotic, unfunny, labored, forced, painful.
Roger,
bad.
What happened to your sense of humor?
I got my sense of humor. That was what my sense of humor was, starving for a laugh as I looked at
Roger,
this movie.
First of all, the drag stuff was funny.
So what?
What do you mean? So what? If it's funny...
Why is it funny? Why is it funny that they're in drag?
It's not funny that they're in drag. I've knocked pictures where people have been in drag when they're not funny. I'm saying, obviously,
they're in drag and they're not funny.
You didn't get the stuff about the drug and Prozac?
I caught on. I caught on.
What happened, Roger?
We're different universes here. We can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. It's not funny. I didn't laugh once.
We get paid to talk about it, Roger.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Tell me one funny moment in the movie.
There are dozens of funny moments. Every time
just
I
choose
see
one.
Every single time, I laughed throughout the picture.
Okay.
I laughed throughout the
picture.
picture.
I'm happy for you.
No. But, well, at least it's a start. It's a smile. Roger, will you look at this picture again? Maybe.
Sure I will. I'd be happy to. sometime maybe in the 21st century.
And what exactly does this stuff do?
If the rocket renders it aerosol, it can take out the entire city of people.
Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage race against time to defuse deadly gas missiles hidden inside Alcatraz in The Rock, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. We'll also take a look at the screen debut of the comic strip superhero known as the Phantom, plus a new drama featuring the radiant Catherine Deneuve. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is The Rock, and here's a film that wore me out in the first hour and entertained me in the second hour for completely different reasons. Worn out early, this action picture has been edited like Speed on speed. There's never a moment's rest as the FBI chemical weapons expert Nicolas Cage joins forces with a former British spy, played by Sean Connery, as they try to defeat a much-decorated American soldier, Ed Harris, who is trying to bring attention to the plight of American soldiers involved in covert operations who are killed and then ignored by our government. Are you still with me? Anyway, Ed Harris and his crew lock up tourists as hostages on Alcatraz and aim highly toxic weapons missiles at San Francisco itself.
You alert the media. I launch the gas. You refuse payment. I launch the gas.
You've got 40 hours till noon day after tomorrow to arrange transfer of the money. I am aware of your countermeasure. You know and I know it doesn't stand a chance. Hummel from Alcatraz, out.
More furious action ensues as Nicolas Cage is joined by Sean Connery and government troops in trying to reclaim Alcatraz and get those hostages free and defuse the bombs. And Connery is particularly helpful because, according to the story, he's the only person ever to escape from Alcatraz, The Rock, and survive.
You catch one of those flame bursts, you're a corpse.
Thank you.
Commander, you said never leave his sight, but stand fast, Lieutenant.
Have a nice day.
Now, at last, here's where the movie starts to get enjoyable, and it's not because of the action or the visual pyrotechnics. No, it's because of Nicolas Cage, who brings his usual hang-loose, wild acting style to a traditional action picture. Suddenly, this movie has a human component.
Listen, I'm just a biochemist. And most of the time, I work in a glass jar and lead a very uneventful life. I drive a Volvo, beige one. But what I'm dealing with here is one of the most deadly substances the Earth has ever known. So what do you say you cut me some friggin' slack?
Obviously, I'm giving a mixed review to The Rock. If there had been more of Cage early on, talking quietly, being funny in some way, I'd give it a positive review. There's a little of that, but not enough. But the pacing and the premise were really agitating to me. For long stretches of time, I simply wanted to escape from The Rock. So a mixed review, thumbs down from me.
We're not even close on this because I really liked it a whole lot. And I liked it even though it's really cobbled together from pieces of other pictures. You know, I wonder, it was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and the late Don Simpson.
Right.
Now, Quentin Tarantino attacked their Top Gun in a famous movie monologue saying it was a homosexual code.
Right.
And in this movie, they have both the hypodermic needle to the heart and the ending, which is a Mexican standoff. Now, those are both Tarantino trademarks, so I think they're getting their revenge. And they borrow from a bunch of other pictures, too, including Escape from Alcatraz and Bullet and even The Fugitive. But nevertheless, it's all put together very well. And what I like about it, in particular, is the same thing you do, the chemistry between Cage and Connery. That really works.
But, Roger, weren't you worn out by this?
No,
Do you know what,
I
you
wasn't.
don't even know what I'm referring to?
I was stimulated by it. I was excited by it. I enjoyed it. It moved. It was efficient.
Boy,
it was
I'll tell you,
entertaining.
Not the first hour for me. I was sort of laughing at it. What about the premise? What about Ed Harris's character? Did you think it was totally absurd?
I mean, if you're going to start in on premises, you could start in with every premise, starting with Die Hard, Lethal Weapon. I mean, all of these.
Oh, no. A single
madman
trying to...
The moment June the 1st comes around, premises go out the window in Hollywood, and anything goes.
This one is laughable. Die Hard seems like a rational documentary compared to this goofball plot.
Okay, well, and we know you like documentaries.
You got
Next movie, it was Thoreau, to change the subject,
a lot,
who said that most men lead lives of quiet desperation. And our next movie is about one of those men.
You've been out alone.
Well, somebody say something.
You're mixed up with the same brotherhood, Diane.
That's Billy Zane playing the title role in The Phantom, the new movie based on the popular comic strip that apparently has been going strong for 60 years. But on screen, the sight of a guy wearing a purple bodysuit in the middle of a jungle, or even on the outskirts of the jungle, does stretch credibility. And credibility isn't helped by Billy Zane's performance and manner.
Follow that car.
Oh, yeah. Take my money, but don't hurt me. Al, take it easy. I'm a friend of Kid Walker's. I need your help. No. Hey! Hey, you! Come back here!
His assignment in The Phantom is to prevent an assortment of bad guys from collecting a set of 3 magical skulls, one of silver, one of gold, and one of jade, and thereby harnessing power to rule the world.
Phantom! Get him!
And here's another power-hungry bad guy, a guy named Drax, played very well by Treat Williams. In fact, the villains in The Phantom are far more enjoyable than the Phantom himself.
Show me the power! Show me the power! Yes!
The Phantom is another action picture I'm giving a mixed review to, and I've already outlined my split opinion. Hated The Phantom, laughed at The Phantom, but I like Treat Williams in some of the action scenes. The direction of my thumb is down because of the bottom line. I'm not interested in seeing the further adventures of the Phantom.
Oh, Gene, I really love this movie, and I like the way the Phantom looks. The Phantom was created in 1936. He is the first of the comic book superheroes.
Right.
And I think it was very brave of them to keep the look of that 1930 strip instead of trying to modernize like they did with Batman. I mean, Batman's uniform, it looks like he's living inside a tire. You know, this, the whole klutziness of the fact that the Phantom, when he lands on a truck, he really lands. He's not, doesn't have cat-like grace, is part of the charm of this movie and the look of the film. I mean, I would recommend to people that if they want to completely forget everything about the plot and everything about the story,
which wouldn't be a bad idea.
This movie is worth seeing for the production design by Paul Peters. This is one of the greatest looking movies I've ever seen. The colors, the interiors.
The interior of the Skull Cave is very well
what about
done.
Drax's office in New York?
That looks
fabulous.
Good, but
it's a good-looking movie.
Did you find the Phantom someone that you cared about the least? Really?
I found the Phantom very amusing. I liked the way what Billy Zane did with that. Instead of standing around like some kind of a stick, to give the guy...
I think he's very stiff.
No, to give the guy a personality, a wry humor, an edge.
I don't think he has a wry humor.
Quality of kidding himself a little bit. There's a lot going on there.
I think he's quite stiff, Roger, and that's where my problem was. Every time I saw him...
Well, okay, Gene, I just want to get the bottom line out. It's PG rated. I think it's terrific. They didn't load it up with a lot of extra violence. It's a great family picture, and I just loved looking at it.
Yeah, well, I liked looking at parts of it, the parts when he wasn't on the screen, the Phantom.
I'm not going to have that thing in my house.
Sweetie, we may have to. The people expect me to meet with them.
Well, they're not going to eat off the Van Deer in China.
Jack Nicholson and Glenn Close play the president and first lady who must grapple with flying saucers in Mars Attacks. It's one of 5 big holiday movies we're going to be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is Mars Attacks, and it's a hit-and-miss sci-fi comedy that I'm giving a pass to because its hits are pretty funny. The premise is that Martians visit Earth, and they're not at all friendly, catching everyone by surprise, including singer Tom Jones, right in the middle of his act in a Las Vegas showroom. That's pretty funny. That attack gets the attention of the President of the United States, a fatuous phony played by Jack Nicholson, and sadly, the comedy here is not at the level of its obvious inspiration, Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove.
A little people. Why can't we all just get along?
And here's another Strangelove wannabe sequence with the President and his gung-ho army chief played by Rod Steiger. The special effects and the creatures, however, are a lot of fun in Mars Attacks. What I like about Mars Attacks is everything involving the Martians. It's very clear that director Tim Burton, who has always defended the oddballs in his movies, like Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, and Ed Wood, He really likes the Martian creatures here much more than the Earthlings. He lampoons most everything on Earth, and the Martians are always portrayed as literally having a blast. I like that subversive approach, and on that basis, I enjoyed Mars Attack.
I didn't like it at all, Gene.
At all?
Not really. The problem is that the concept, well, let's go at it two ways. First of all, the concept probably sounded funnier than it is. Oh, we'll get Jack Nicholson to be the president, and he'll play a dual role. Well, that's terrific, except he's not funny in either role, and they're not well written. In fact, none of the roles are well written. Then you have the creatures, and obviously Burton spent a lot of time on these creatures, and as a result, he leaves them on the screen too long. I mean, when one creature, little head pops and fills the inside of his space helmet with green oatmeal, that's kind of amusing.
Yeah.
When it happens 1,000 times, it's not 1,000 times more amusing. This just drags on and on. There's no payoff. You've got to have a story. You've got to have an orientation. You've got to have material to make it fun.
I supplied the orientation. I think that's what the movie is really about. That he likes these creatures more than the creatures on Earth. But you're right that there isn't a hard-driving story here, and the Strangelove stuff really just shows you how brilliant that film was.
You know, his last movie, which was so good, was Ed Wood. And I think maybe this time he was trying to make an Ed Wood movie.
No. This is not that bad, and the creatures are a lot of fun. And there's some very funny stuff.
Ed Wood would have certainly been able to understand this film. Okay.
Yeah. That's James Spader is a man obsessed with car crashes and sex in a bold new movie called Crash, an adults-only experience carrying the rare NC-17 rating no one under 17 admitted. Crash is about a group of people who are sexually aroused by car crashes. They have them on purpose, reenact them, and generally are turned on by cars. It's not for a mainstream audience, and despite a big-name cast and a director who typically stands for quality, I was more depressed by this picture than impressed. In Crash, James Spader plays a filmmaker with a penchant for public sex who develops a sexual relationship with a woman played by Oscar winner Holly Hunter, whose car, get this, he crashes into by accident and kills her husband. It's pretty hard to watch this scene and not say, oh, come on, this is ridiculous.
A trainee radiologist. Then the service manager at my garage.
You had sex with all those men in cars? All lane cars?
Yes, I didn't plan it that way.
Later, James Spader's character looks on from another car as his blonde wife, Deborah Unger, is willingly terrorized by a whacked-out performance artist played by Ilias Koteas, who likes to reenact celebrity car crashes. Performance artist character is truly twisted. He would like to drive cars that have been involved in celebrity car crashes, and he has theories about car crashes that are plainly idiotic, I think.
The car crash is a fertilizing rather than a destructive event. A liberation of sexual energy, mediating the sexuality of those who have died with an intensity that's impossible in any other form.
Crash was directed by David Cronenberg, the adventurous Canadian filmmaker of Scanners and Dead Ringers fame, and my honest reaction is that the subject of Crash left me feeling empty, not even challenged in the am I hip enough to get it way. Crash has some beautiful bodies on view, but also some ugly ideas, and as I said, I think it really did leave me cold.
Well, of course, it was intended to leave you cold. I think I liked the movie a lot more than you did. I would like to make it clear that most people are probably going to hate it, be repelled by it, or walk out of it, just as they did at the Cannes Film Festival.
Why is that?
Because it's too tough for them to take.
Oh, you mean when I'm Roger?
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
Wait a second.
Sex involving wounds and blood and scabs and braces. A lot of people don't want to see it, don't want to have anything to do with it, don't want to get close to it.
I want to be clear. Do you think that that's my objection, the nature of my objection?
I felt that your objection was that you didn't really bring any sympathy to what he was trying to do, and I'll tell you what he was trying to do. He's trying to make a pornographic movie without pornography. He's taking the form of a pornographic movie without the function or the content. He's substituting car crashes for the usual erotic stuff in order to show the mechanism of human compulsion and obsession.
Okay, but wait a second.
And it's a fascinating study of the way the mind works in connection with images that we connect with sex.
Roger, it can't. I'm going to review the movie and then I'll review your review. My objection to what you said is that I think that there are, quote, soft porno stuff in the picture. When you see sex on the hood of a car, when you see people making it in bed.
None of the sex scenes in this movie are directed in a way to be erotic.
Oh, I think that the one scene in bed between Deborah Unger and Spader, I think that that's intended to be erotic. I think a woman touching her breast, pulling it out of her bra, that's intended to be erotic. And I think it can be erotic. I'm saying that the ideas in the film, said by the performance artist, that somehow this is a connection between life and death, that's a bunch of hooey.
The movie doesn't. The movie thinks so too, Gene. The movie is about crazy people.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. The movie doesn't argue these people are right, or even that they make sense.
But are they interesting?
Yes.
Not to me.
You've never seen anyone like this before.
Well, I haven't seen a lot of people in bad movies before that I don't like either.
Okay.
An experiential book of the month line. You can drop that at any time with no further obligation.
Michael Douglas gets a birthday gift he'll never forget in the psychological thriller The Game, one of the new fall movies we're reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. The Game is just the sort of gift to get a rich executive with time on his hands and major psychological issues unresolved in his or her life. And that defines Michael Douglas's character in the new movie called The Game, in which his no-account degenerate younger brother, Sean Penn, gets an intriguing gift for his rich Prince of the City older brother.
Consumer Recreation Services. Well, I do have golf clubs.
Call that number.
Why?
They make your life fun.
Fun?
You know what that is? You've seen other people have. It's an entertainment service.
An escort service?
A profound life experience.
Naturally, Douglas's character can't resist a visit to the company where he gets the pitch from a creepy guy played by James Rebhorn, a good character actor who we're going to see a lot more of because of this film.
It's a game.
A game?
Specifically tailored for each participant. Think of it as a great vacation. Except you don't go to it. It comes to you.
Well, what kind of vacation?
It's different every time.
Humor me with specifics.
We provide whatever's lacking.
Basically, The Game is a series of intense psychological tests that prey on a participant's weaknesses in an effort to teach him about himself, teach him to confront his demons. Douglas doesn't realize this at first, as he and a waitress he's met, played by Deborah Carr Unger, find themselves in corporate offices that are a front for testing his mental and physical strength.
We'll wait for security to come, and we'll just explain.
Oh, they'll love that. Explain for both of us.
Wait.
We don't want to draw any tension, just out for a stroll. Run.
Later, is it paranoia or reality or the game, as Douglas finds himself in a taxi that he suddenly fears is controlled by the creators of the game.
No, stop the car! Stop the car! Thank you. Open the door. Lock the door. Open the...
The setup of the game and the setup of Michael Douglas's character, a rich kid who saw his wealthy young father commit suicide, is really the best part. Those two parts are the best parts of this picture. Douglas handles power and money better than any actor today. Think of his movies, Wall Street, The American President, and now The Game. But this story doesn't really go anywhere surprising. I didn't think the payoff of the movie was that creative, and the big concept is quite easy to figure out. And just as important, I'm not really sure what Michael Douglas learns at the end of the game. It's a well-performed, handsomely designed motion picture, but a lot less meaningful, I think, than the filmmakers may have intended. A close call, but I really only like the first hour of the game.
I couldn't disagree with you more. This is a really splendidly entertaining movie by David Fincher, the man who made Seven, and he does find out something at the end. He is brought down to reality. This egocentric, distant, cold person is reduced to a level of being, I think, more of a human being. But apart from that, the fact that we know it's a game is given away in the title. Of course we know it's a game. And of course we know that everything that's happening isn't real. And of course that's the whole idea, because there were layers under layers under layers and a wonderfully photographed and acted and written story.
I said wonderfully photographed and acted. But the many, many layers that you're talking about, Roger, are not that many.
Yes, there are. There are a lot of times when you don't know what's happening and you're surprised.
Not me.
When he goes in a
Maybe
taxi
you.
cab off the edge of the pier and is about to drown, looked like it was real as far as I was concerned. I think you really have gotten
Roger,
a very
they're
entertaining movie here, and you've praised his setup, The Rich Kid Who Sees His Father Dies. Those are home movies in the opening titles.
Did you hear
I mean,
me
for
say
you, the movie
those
is
things?
over after 4 minutes.
No, it isn't, because can you remember what I said? Do you remember somebody looking like me saying just a few seconds ago, I liked the first hour? That's true, Roger. I liked half of it.
Okay.
My name is Jack.
Eddie Adams.
Eddie Adams from Torrance.
Yep.
Jack Horner, filmmaker.
Really?
Yeah. I make adult films, exotic pictures.
Burt Reynolds is a successful porno filmmaker in California in the 1970s, and Mark Wahlberg plays his latest discovery in Boogie Nights, a beautifully constructed, exceedingly well cast, but not all that significant comic drama of the flourishing porno film industry in the 1970s. Certainly, writer-director Paul Thomas Anderson has all of the details and the decor just right. Burt Reynolds is some of his best work ever as the ambitious director. He doesn't push this character at all. He's centered, in control, and it's a good job of acting.
Good night, dude.
Good night, Eddie.
Good night.
Glad you came by. You're great.
Thank you.
She's the best. She's a wonderful mother, you know. She's a mother to all those who need love.
His young protege, played by rap singer turned Calvin Klein model Mark Wahlberg, has been hired for his sexual stamina and his size.
You ready? Yeah. Okay. You're gonna make your entrance through this door right here. He'll call action. That's your cue. You got the lines to the scene?
Uh-huh.
If you drop one, just call for it. Do not stop. Okay? Do not stop. You want some water or something?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. You'll do fine.
Other characters in the porno industry include one played by Don Cheadle.
You have to get a new look.
Why don't you get a new look?
I have a look, okay? The look I have is just fine.
What's your look?
Chocolate love. All right?
I particularly want to praise the casting of this film in big roles and small by Christine Sheeks. Every role of the large cast is perfectly realized. But as well as Boogie Nights plays, at the end of the movie, in a sequence that sums up the fate of all the characters, I was left cold, frankly. Their fate seemed arbitrary, and I certainly found no larger meaning in this film. That's why you're getting a positive, to be sure, but mixed review from me.
Mixed?
Yep.
This is on my list of the 10 best films of the year. This is a wonderful film. And that last sequence with the guy throwing the firecrackers...
Well, I'm talking about...
That was a fab... You've got to admit, that's one of the best stretches of film you've ever seen.
No, I don't.
It
but
is,
that isn't what I was criticizing.
Okay.
Because what I was saying is when we see all of the characters...
Well, you know, there isn't a point. You know, there isn't a point. These people are in a movie that tells a story about a pointless existence. And for a while, they are able to persuade themselves that there is a point, that they're stars, even in this genre. And then at the end, it all comes to pieces again because drugs destroy them, video destroys them, and the mob destroys them. And they try to go out into the real world again, and you're really kind of lost.
All right,
That's the whole point of the film.
But wait, Roger, you just said it has no point, and then you told me what the point was. But beyond that, that isn't enough. This is the kind of... Now, I want to tell you the excellence. Wait a second. I am praising the film for its excellence, but it doesn't tell me anything that I didn't know about this world, or that, frankly, if I gave you a camera and shot it, I'm talking about script-wise, not execution.
Oh, listen,
you can't make a film that good.
Think about the Julianne Moore character, this woman who has left her husband and her child, who wants to make it as a point, who is really supportive and
You've named a very good character.
And nurturing to the other people in the film, but can't do anything for herself.
That's an excellent
Talk about
character.
the Burt Reynolds character. Talk about...
I already did.
Talk about...
I praised
well, to it, you praised him, but you didn't really give an idea of what a fabulous job he does of trying to keep these sad, losing, drifting kinds of people together. This movie shows an entire world. It's a sad world. It's an isolated world in which the dreams of stardom nevertheless keep them going.
The dreams of stardom is an old show business cliche, and it happens to be true. It isn't enough to make my 10 best list. It's a familiar subject.
When we come back, the new film from the makers of Fargo, The Big Lebowski, with Jeff Bridges.
I received this ransom note this morning.
This is a bummer, man. In the briefcase? Papers. Just papers. You know, my papers, business papers.
And what do you do, sir?
I'm unemployed.
Jeff Bridges plays one of two characters named Jeff Lebowski in the would-be comedy called The Big Lebowski from Fargo filmmakers Joel and Ethan Coen. And I certainly hope that the main reason I didn't care for this film isn't that it simply suffers by comparison to their great film Fargo. Because most every film I'm going to see this year or next year isn't going to measure up to that picture. I just think that the humor in The Big Lebowski is uninspired. Jeff Bridges plays a too self-consciously created character named Jeff Lebowski, a laid-back 80s dude in surfer shorts who is mistaken for and then confronts a high-powered businessman also named Jeff Lebowski, played by David Huddleston.
I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
The dude becomes involved in a kidnapping for ransom scheme involving the other Lebowski's wife. And boy, isn't kidnapping for ransom a tired plot these days? A more typically offbeat Coen Brothers moment occurs when Bridges' bowling buddy, John Goodman, offers his opinion on how to handle a crisis in the kidnapping caper.
Are they going to
want
get...
a tow? I can get you a tow. Believe me. There are ways, dude. You don't want to know about it, believe me.
Yeah, but Walter...
Hell, I can get you a tow by 3 o'clock this afternoon with nail polish.
The dude also has a romantic interest in the film, Julianne Moore as Mr. Lebowski's daughter, and here they reenact, I guess, what is a parody of the flying scene in Superman.
La 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 la. La la la. La 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 la.
Some of the comedy plays itself out in bowling alleys, and this is not cutting-edge humor with John Turturro approaching the pins. What are we supposed to do with that? Laugh at how tacky, serious bowlers are? Kingpin was a much funnier film set in the world of bowling. Jeff Bridges' character wasn't worth my time. There's no heart to him, like, say, the Frances McDormand character in the Coen Brothers' Fargo. The Big Lebowski, a big disappointment.
I liked it enough to recommend it, and I think there's a lot of heart to the Jeff Bridges character. I think this is a very interesting performance of a guy who never really finishes anything. He's described as the laziest man in Los Angeles, and he has these two wonderful friends, Steve Buscemi and John Goodman. Goodman gives a very good performance. And the whole point is, of course, the plot is a cliche, the kidnapping scheme, but the whole point is, the plot is essentially, I think what the Coen Brothers are doing is satirizing a plot like that by attacking it through these woefully comic and incompetent characters who are absolutely adrift and way out of their element here, and that's what's funny.
I just thought they were so obviously written, particularly the Jeff Bridges character, as this dude type. And then the other thing is, because there's only been 2 pictures of theirs I haven't liked, and that would be the Hudsucker Proxy, which you don't care for either, and this one. And I think that decor got involved in both of those pictures. I noticed their art direction more of this picture and Hudsucker, and the other thing, wealthy people. Hudsucker, and here, the Big Lebowski, the other
So they shouldn't make any more movies about wealthy people?
They've got to be careful. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman play sisters living on a Massachusetts island who are descended from a long line of real-life witches in the funny and clever film called Practical Magic, which succeeds through a smart script based on Alice Hoffman's novel. This story works because it takes witchery seriously, which means that the town residents truly hate the Owen sisters.
Is that a snake tattoo? Yeah, and there's one on her boat, too. Yep, that's right. I'm back. Woo! Hang on to your husbands, girls.
The fear and hatred of the Owens extends a generation to Bullock's 2 young daughters, who she tries to protect not just from the villagers, but also from her eccentric aunts, who are also witches.
Fine, but I do not want them dancing naked under the full moon.
Of course not, dear. The nudity is entirely optional, as you will remember.
This is an extremely well-cast movie with Stockard Channing and Diane Wiest as the aunts who brought up Bullock and Kidman after the girls' parents died. Now, a legend about these witches says that if they fall in love with a man, his future is truly bleak. Bullock fears this will affect her chances with an Arizona cop who is investigating the disappearance of Kidman's boyfriend. He's played by, effectively, Aidan Quinn.
But he basically kidnapped her, and it...
Ooh.
He kidnapped you?
Well, no, he didn't really kidnap her. He sort of like just a little nap. No, there was a car, and she would, and, you know, what happened was that she just, you should know she has the worst taste in men.
Now, I mentioned that the script takes witchcraft seriously. Well, it does, because we're always talking about, Roger, how we want some how-to films. Like if we're going to cover a subject, you know, get specific. Well, we learned some new potions, some new rules, and it is all treated seriously by the cast. So we buy into it, too. I was surprised how much I enjoyed Practical Magic.
Gene, I don't believe we even saw the same movie. This movie doesn't take witchcraft seriously. It's like a sitcom. And it's childish in all of its plotting, its characters, and its development. And incidentally, this movie is a comedy, you know. You haven't even suggested that. It's not a serious movie about witchcraft.
There are some funny elements.
No, it's a comedy from beginning to end.
Oh, I don't think so.
In intention, it certainly is.
I think that the business involving whether these women are going to have any kind of relationships is dead serious.
I don't think so. I mean, I found this movie to be really pretty dumb, as a matter of fact. And as for the two older aunts, I wanted to see more of them. As for the persecution of this poor family, hey, you know, if you've been witches for 300 years and the townspeople know that, why stay there so your kids can be persecuted?
Well, that's the story, Roger. We ought to see more of the witchcraft.
Yeah, in other words, they stay there just so there can be a plot.
Even some of the rules, some of the potions were different.
They have an old book with a lot of stuff in it, and they mix up stuff, you know, like...
Yeah, the old book was new to me.
Now, I don't think that there's really a lot of information in this movie about witchcraft.
I think there's some of it.
Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this show. We had a split decision on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I was entertained by the action and adventure, but Gene found it all too familiar. So, I liked Indiana Jones, I liked Miracle Mile, you liked Zip.
Yeah, I felt sort of bludgeoned by Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I'd rather see the first one again.
Come on, though. Gene, if it were Saturday night and you were looking for a movie to go to, wouldn't you find that you got your money's worth with Indiana Jones?
You know that I would actually...
The great color, the great location.
It's physically good looking, but you know, of all the pictures that were discussed, I would probably want to see Roadhouse again more than any of them for the very quality you mentioned. It's a little bit goofy. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade seemed very familiar.
Do you think we should have maybe gotten over our prejudices against the things in Roadhouse that...
No, because I wouldn't... If a friend of mine asked me to go see it, I wouldn't encourage him to go.
But if he went, you'd probably say, well, you got a few laughs.
Wasn't that silly? Wasn't that silly? Something like that.
It's a definition of a borderline picture.
Yeah.
That's it for this week. Next time, we'll be back with a special show called The Movies That Made Us Critics, as Gene and I look back over key films that shaped our lives. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.